Hello everyone, welcome to the Solution Challenge 2021 info session. So if you can hear me, can you just type yes in the chat box or raise your hands? Okay. Nice. Yes, Karan. And okay, that's great. We can begin in a moment. Okay, that's awesome. We have a great event today with an amazing panel. So yeah, make sure that you stay till the end. So, okay, and let's begin. So good morning, all of you. Welcome to the kickoff of the Solution Challenge 2021. I'm Gaurav Verma, the finance core of DSC MESCOE right now. And yeah, I'll tell you more about Solution Challenge. What exactly is Solution Challenge? How do you register? How's the judging like? What are the prizes you get? And what is it exactly? So Solution Challenge is a competition amongst all over the world, which basically focuses on solving a real world problems using Google technologies. So we have a short video that will explain you what is the process like of the Solution Challenge. And yeah, I'll share my screen just a moment. Okay. Karan, you can see the video, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool.
Hi everyone, I'm Erica Hansen, and in this video, I will give you an overview of the steps and timeline for the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. The Solution Challenge is an annual contest that invites students to develop solutions utilizing one or more Google technologies. This year's mission is for students to solve for one or more of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Check out the next video in this series to learn more on these 17 goals and how to brainstorm ideas to help achieve them. For now, let's take a look at the complete timeline of the Google Developer Student Club's 2021 Solution Challenge. The steps can be grouped into 4 phases: register, learn and build, deep mentorship, and demo day. At this phase, you'll join a Google Developer Student Club virtually at your college or university. If there is no club at your university, you can find the nearest one to you by checking our online directory. If you are joining a club outside your university, make sure to team up with at least one student from that university in order to be eligible to participate in the Solution Challenge. Once you are a Google Developer Student Club member, it's time to register your interest at goo.gle/Solution Challenge by submitting the form. Now you can form a team with up to 4 students from your club. Ideally, your team members will have a varied set of technical and soft skills, so you complement each other's strengths. The next phase is where you'll select one or more of the UN 17 Sustainable Goals to solve for. And now it's time to start defining and building your solution. We've created a series of videos to guide you through this process. They offer references to many technical resources available to you, so be sure to check them out. And remember, while you design and build your solution, you can always get guidance and assistance by posting a question on the mentorship platform Partheon, where Google developer experts can help you overcome the obstacles you face along the way. Once you have built your solution, gone through user feedback, and reiterated your code, it's time to record a demo video. The video should be 2 minutes or shorter and showcase your solution in a clear and exciting way. Both your solution and the demo video should be submitted by March 31st through the Solution Challenge website. At this stage, the Solution Challenge team of judges will review and rank all the submissions from around the world. You can check the judging criteria on the Solution Challenge website. The top 50 solutions will be announced and invited to join the deep mentoring phase. This phase is designed to fine-tune and improve the top 50 solutions. These top teams will receive mentoring from Google and Google developer experts. Once completed, these top 50 teams will resubmit their improved solutions and their improved demos to compete for a spot as one of the 10 finalists. These top 10 teams will win an array of prizes, among which are a 1-year subscription to Pluralsight, swag, and additional customized mentoring from Google and Google developer experts. The top 10 teams will also be invited to present their solution to Google and developers all over the world, live on YouTube during the 2021 Solution Challenge Demo Day. During Demo Day, the judges will watch the top 10 demos and interview the finalists. The final 3 winning teams will be announced live during the event, winning all the prizes included in the top 10 category, along with a Chromebook and a private meeting with a Google executive. The Google Developer Student Club Solution Challenge is a great opportunity to learn the latest Google technologies and kickstart your career by learning through doing. You'll be collaborating with Googlers and Google developer experts on your way to building a great solution. In the next video, we will explore the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals and show you some ways to research and brainstorm solutions aligned with these goals. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see what you build.
So yeah, that is the solution challenge, and so just a minute. So as you can see in the video, the main problems that we have to solve this year are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, which is given to us by the United Nations, the UN. So these sustainable goals was created in 2015, and they have to be achieved by 2013. It has been agreed by all 193 United Nations members, and it is to ensure there is no poverty, to ensure there is prosperity, and to protect our earth, the planet. And so these are the 17 goals. If you can see through the website, or you can read in the chats, the first is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, there should be gender equality, there should be clean water and sanitization, affordable clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and industrial innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities, irresponsible consumption and production, the climate action, life under the water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnership of the goals. So these are the problems that you have to solve using any one of the Google technologies. And what would be the timeline like? What would be the timeline like? So join a Google Developer Student Club, as all of you are member of DSC MESCOE. That step has already been done, so there's no problem. Register for the 2021 Solution Challenge by submitting the form. So Karan, can you please put the form in the chat link?
Yeah,
Just
sending.
the form, and you have to register over there. Maximum number of team participants can be 4. Form a team, that is step 3. Step 4, select a UN Sustainable Development Goal, the SDG. You can solve one or more. It's not limited that you have to solve only one SDG. Next is the design and the build phase. So you identify the solution, what you want the solution to be like, and then learn, design the front end, design the back end, test your solution amongst people, and iterate and do the step over and over until you find a perfect solution. And this and then would be the submission. So you have to make a video of maximum 2 minutes and submit it by the 31st of March. And the top 50 teams will be selected by the judging panel, and it will be announced by May. And these top 50 teams will get private mentorship, and they'll get private mentorship to fine tune them projects from Google developers or the Google developer experts. And that is the step 11. Top 50 will get deep mentorship, mentor. And step 12 with the top 10 finalists will be announced, and these top 10 finalists will get a chance to display the solution all over the world through something which is called a demo day, which will be live on YouTube. Step 13, from that demo day, the top 3 winners will be announced live on YouTube. And step 14, yeah, celebrate all the 2021 solution challenge. You have to celebrate. It is basically what you learn throughout the year. Like we had the Android study jams and the Google Cloud. So how can you use this in practice to solve real world problems? That is the main focus of the solution challenge. The prizes, the top 50 teams, as we said, will get mentorship from Googlers and experts. Top 10 will get 1 year subscription of Pluralsight, Schwags, and they'll get a chance to showcase their solution to the world and to the Googlers all around the world. And the top 3 winners will get a Chromebook and a meeting with the Google executive where you can share your solution and they can help you it to reach the next level. Judging criteria. So the judging criteria is divided into 60 and 40 points. 60 points is based on the impact what your solution is creating, and 40 points is the technology. So I won't read all through this. If you want, we have I think so Karan has shared the PPTs as well. So you can just go through it, or it is also available on the Solution Challenge website. And so yeah, so if there is something you don't know, like you'll be like, I don't know machine learning, I want to learn machine learning. So we have self-paced code labs, and we have code labs in Android basics and Kotlin. We have to build apps with Flutter and neural networks, Google Assistant, Firebase, data science cloud, and any web pathways. So you can learn it and then apply it to build your solutions. So the learning part is available on the Solution Challenge website. Just type Solution Challenge 2021 on Google, and under the resources bar, you'll get this self-paced code labs. And what is next? Yeah, Parthian. As soon as you register, you'll get a link for the community platform, which is Parthian, where you can interact with the Google developer experts, the GDEs, and ask them technical questions on the specific Google products, and feedback on ideas on what is your idea, and they'll give you good feedback and advice on how should you go about with making a project. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and on LinkedIn. The links are given here, and also on Discord, because we'll so if you can ask us for mentorship, we have very good mentors with us available. And yeah, we can't wait to see what you build. And speaking of winners, we have the runner-up of the 2020 Solution Challenge here with us, which is from our DSA, which is a very great deal. And I would like Dhruvil to just give a brief introduction about them, and we'll have a discussion with them.
Thank you, Gaurav. Uh, Good morning, everyone. I am Dhruvil Shah, the finance core of DSC MESCOE. I would like to introduce the Solution Challenge 2020 runners-up. We have Parag, who's a research intern at CDAC. He has published 4 research papers till date. He's the ex-DSC lead, and he's a deep learning AI ambassador. We have Akash Lende, who is a passionate full-stack developer who does not fear taking a product from scratch to production. He was a former developer core. He's a research intern at CDAC. We have Rishikesh Mane, who is the alumni of MESCO and was also a part of the DSC community. He's also a mentor for TensorFlow at Google Codin. He's secured a position at blog writer for Analytics Vidya, India's largest data science platform. He also participated in the SIH 2020. We have Varun, who is the current technical core at DSC MESCO. He's a full stack developer, JavaScript developer, Flutter developer, and the Google Cloud facilitator. He built the Flutter app for the check X-ray for COVID detection using chest radiographs for the solution challenge. He's also participated in the SIH 2020 and 2017. He completed his diploma in computer engineering from Kusrowadia Institute of Technology, and he's an intern at Nirmati.io. Now I would like Parag and his team to share their journey through the DSC Solution Challenge 2020.
Yes. So just before we talk to them, can everyone switch on their cameras, please? Varun, Parag, Rishikesh. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Gaurav.
Hi, Akash. Yes. So just let us see what they built last year, the Check X-ray app. So I'll just show a short video about it. you can see my screen. Yeah, that was awesome. Amazing project right there. So yeah, can you describe your project in just a few words to our participants?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to take that. So now the medical field has developed sort of like a technology called CT scans, and that technology is sort of very expensive for the common man as well. You know, it takes very detailed images of your X-rays all from different angles, and so just for the common crowd, it's a bit difficult. So there is success in the field where you can have CT scans and detect or diagnose COVID-19, but it's like using X-rays, we can also definitely do that, you know, and because these X-rays are more accessible to healthcare providers, and in small remote regions, it'll be easier for them. So of course, there are algorithms out there to definitely develop a successful model, and this is a very sort of global effort that we have tried to achieve to try to detect COVID-19 in just a simple two-dimensional image. And so this model that we have built is sort of like a prototype, and it sort of like works it sort of works in a prototype fashion, in the sense you cannot use it really for diagnosis, but not for real medical use, but it actually gives you accurate sort of results as you've seen in the demonstration video. So that's what all this CheckX-ray is about. So CheckX-ray is basically a combination chest X-ray where you can have a JPEG or PNG of your X-rays given you by your doctor, and all you have to do is input it into the application, and it just gives you a result.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So how did you come up with this idea? Like this idea, like coronavirus was just starting back then. So how did you come up with the idea of check X-ray?
So I would like to take this. So it was back in February, March 2020, and as Gaurav already said, Corona was like recently declared as a global pandemic and an international emergency back then. So we were reading in the news. There are stories like what are the difficulties faced by the people to just know if they caught the virus or not. And also there were cases where the time was not the only issue. Means, by the way, it took more than 3 to 4 hours to just know if you caught the virus or not. And sadly, time was not the only issue. There are cases where people were falsely told that they caught the coronavirus just so that the doctors could earn some money. And it happened that due to false medication, some people even died because of that. So this was very unfortunate, and we thought that let's come up with an idea which could help people to know whether they have COVID-19 or not. And we developed this app which could tell if you are COVID-19 positive just within a minute.
Okay, that's really awesome. So like there would be different methodologies. So what did you guys go with it? Which methodology did you use to
Yeah,
solve this problem?
yeah, go ahead, Karan.
So I would say like the approach that we used in the. So you asked about the methodologies, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say the approach that we decided before, we didn't actually decide the approach beforehand. Like we had to first come up with a idea with a problem that we could solve, and that was relevant in today's society, right? So we wanted a problem to, we wanted the solution to have good impact on the society, and we wanted it to be available to a numerous number of users. So basically, we worked on a machine learning model, a machine learning solution. So when you work on machine learning, anything related to machine learning, what you have to understand is that you need to have some results. You need to have some kind of experimentation before you try to integrate it with your app, or you try to make it available to a large number of users. So while we previously we worked on a paper which used to diagnose 14 different types of diseases based on chest radiographs. So, and at that time, COVID was like rampant in India, right? So it was just starting, but we didn't have many options to test the patients. So what we tried to do is just try to include all the COVID-19 dataset into our model so that it can classify COVID-19 as well. So uh, after deciding the problem statement, like yes, we are going with this, we are trying to develop a model, we are trying to work on some experimental data set, which is it should be uh, it should be correct as well, right? So you can't just take some random data and expect our application to work. So after doing that, uh, we got an idea like how we are going to develop our backend, how we are going to kind of show it to the users in a meaningful way. So yeah, the methodology wasn't decided in the beginning. So you just get the hold of it as you try to solve the problem and work on the solution itself.
Okay. Okay. So my next question would be about the tech stack. So there are so many things available, like so many things to learn, and to choose the right project. It's kind of a difficult job. Like you have to make a website, you have React, Angular. So which one to use? So what is the tech stack which you used in your project?
Uh, I'll take this again. So the tech stack which we tried to include as much Google technologies as we could. So basically we used TensorFlow for machine learning and Google Cloud to deploy and serve our machine learning model. So basically what we are trying to do is use a heavy machine learning model. It was using DenseNet 121, I guess. So to deploy that model and to have results in, let's say, around 10 seconds, we need some powerful compute, which is not usually available on normal hosting websites. Like you can say normal hosting like Hostinger or GoDaddy, something like that. It isn't available on that. So we needed some kind of powerful compute, which Google Cloud provided us, and we used Flutter to create a smooth and beautiful looking mobile application, as you saw in the video. We used Firebase to have the user database so that the data that the users have, it is secure and it's not going to be used for any other purposes. And like after doing that, I think the backend was the Flask server. We developed some API, REST API call so that we can communicate with the server and get the results on time. So yeah, this was the basic tech stack that we used, along with some minor help from Adobe XD to develop the Flutter UI and all the other stuff.
Okay, that's great. So like four of you are participating together. So what was the project like flow like, and how did you implement it? Which one would do what? So how did you decide that?
Yeah, so like the priorities were right now getting the model right. And without the model being not as accurate, it wouldn't make sense to build an app much later. So we were keep on iterating and testing, like how the software engineering model of iteration. So we were just keep testing and iterating on that model which Parag and Rishikesh built together. And it's like you have to have a little mini Flask server just ready. So that's like there are different pieces of the puzzle, you can say. And we didn't want to put all the pieces connected all at once, because then it would sort of mess up everything. Instead, we started like one piece at a time. Take a little from the model, then build a little Flask server just to test it out. Once it works, if the model is giving good results, then we can start building the say web app or mobile app, anything you can build, and then you can just start connecting the pieces together, and then finally your flow has been completed and you have a final project just like that.
Okay, that's great. So I just want to say that if anyone in the audience or the chat has any question, just put it in your chat, or you can raise your hand so you can ask it to them directly. So that's there. So can you describe how you learn about the required technology and like how to implement? How did you learn about it and how did you implement it? The technologies which you
So
use.
basically, the two main technologies which we used for this project were Flutter, and the second was machine learning as a whole, like, right? So how I started with Flutter is, first of all, I attended the event which was hosted by DSC, and Varun taught Flutter very well there. So that gave me a start for Flutter, and then I would recommend you to go through the Flutter docs. The docs are really well suited for any kind of developer. Means if you are a React developer or a React Native developer, it will help you to, or even a beginner actually. If you're a beginner, it will help you to learn Flutter very easily. Then the second thing is to learn machine learning. So there's this famous course by Andrew Ng on Coursera, which you can go through to learn machine learning. And there's one second course by Google developers called Crash Course for Machine Learning. This course will actually help you to learn application development using machine learning without getting into like mathematics. Like it will just help you to learn the basics of machine learning, and that you can start application development soon after that. So that's how I learned Flutter and ML.
Okay. So, like they said ki in the like Erika said in a video that you get mentorship from Google from Parthian community. So what was that mentorship like? Who was your mentor and how did you communicate with him?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So we did get a mentor from Google. So I don't remember his name. It's been a long time now. But then yeah, he was a Googler, and then we were exchanging few emails with him. Also, we did Google Meet with him, and then he was there. There was a continuous feedback with him. So he used to see our product. Uh, he used to give us a feedback. Okay, this one can you do this better? Okay, can you okay, this one is cool, but you can go ahead with this one, but then it would be better if you do something like this. So there was a continuous feedback, and since he was a Googler and he was well experienced with his stuff, so yeah, so it did give us an exposure to how your product should be, and how it should be how should be convincing to other people just to get up on the stage. So yeah, we did receive a mentorship, and that was cool.
That's great. And now one of the most difficult solution to any developer. Are you satisfied with what you made, or do you think that you could have improved it, or improved in some way or the other? Like, are you satisfied with it at all?
Okay, so for me, I was 100% satisfied. The Flutter experience was I mean, the Flutter experience was so good. The app was I mean, this was the best app I've ever seen by any developer I know. So Varun and Akash, once again, good job. That the Flutter app, I mean, I was so impressed by this one. And the initial stage of development, Parag and I we were wasting so much time on the model training and model experimentation, and we didn't really have so much time for app. And then in such a small amount of time, these people came up with such an amazing app, and it was working well. Of course, of course I think the app could have been better, the API calls could have been faster and all. But then since we have a very limited number of resources and all these things, but then I am completely satisfied with the product.
So that's really awesome. What's
Yeah.
here? So so I guess after like you were selected, you had an interview with a Googler or a representative from their side. So what was that interview like? What questions did they ask, and how was the interaction like with them?
So the judges in the solution challenge interview try to basically evaluate the projects based upon what portion of the general public is the project going to affect, and actually enrich their lives. And the second is the cost which the end users have to bear if they are going to use our app. Also, we were asked about the motivation for the idea and the difficulties faced during the development of this particular project. Then there are questions based upon how we tested the final product, how the beta test took, and then they asked that how community helped us for building the application and how we build our own team. And then finally, the question comes that what are the Google technologies used for building the project, and how did it affect and did it ease your development for the project?
Okay, that's nice. So if anyone in the chat wants to ask a question, this is your moment. You can ask them right now, right away. Anyone? Okay.
You can just raise your hands or type your questions in the chat box.
Yeah, you can raise your hands or like type the question in the chat box, so we'll know about it. Okay, there's no one. Then as we have machine learning experts Parag and Rishikesh over here, so what would you give advice to a newbie who's starting in machine learning? If there's any advice, like how will you start? What advice will you give us?
Parag, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So, like, if you are starting with machine learning, I would say try out a few things before going into the mathematics and the basically all the maths behind all the linear regression, be it logistic regression or k-means clustering. Before you go into depth, it's better to just look at some projects which give you a high level overview of how things work, how you get some images, how do you convert them, how do you get the output. You don't just have to dive right into the mathematics, but you should at a later stage. But in the beginning, I would just suggest like go through some projects, try to understand how the input is taken, what are the types of machine learning approaches, what are the types of algorithms, and basically try to uh, use the automated machine learning to just enhance your understanding. And once you have a good grasp of how the things work, how the data is manipulated, how the data is cleaned, how it is trained, and then you can just go into the depth, like how the things work, how the algorithms work on a basic level, how the maths is working behind the scenes, and all that stuff. So if you're starting with machine learning, I would say, like Akash mentioned, there's one Google crash course on the machine learning part. It is taught by Peter Novick. You should really go into that. You should just go through all the videos, and if you still just think about, if you just think that it's really getting difficult, you could go on YouTube. There is a course from Lawrence Moroni. You can go through his course. That is the best course I can say for beginners. So if you want, I can just add it in the chat, the link. And yeah, that would just make you an ML expert, I guess.
We have one question.
We have a question in the chat. So how were you able to decide the public you are targeting before going for the challenge? Mihir asked this. Like the public, the people who will use a chat, how were you able to decide who will use it?
Yeah, I can take this one. So let's say one of the very nice approaches is actually just take a book and a paper and just go out asking for if you've seen what you call Silicon Valley, Jared just takes the book and pen and paper, just goes out there in the audience and would you like this idea? Would you like this problem if we solve this problem? That kind of thing. So taking surveys is one of the best things you can do, and asking for people what problems they have and finding a local solution to that problem is one of what the principles of this solution challenge is. And so deciding a public is basically, then you have to understand how much cost they can afford to give, like how much money they can afford to give to just use our application, or maybe bare minimal or even zero. Basically, again, this I told you in the beginning itself that CT scans are a little bit expensive, and X-rays are sort of on the cheaper side. Just one single two-dimensional image is easier for anyone in remote regions to get. So think about that. Like, think about the solution that people think about, the problems that people majority people try to get, but they are not trying to, like, they can't afford it. So think of that. Like, again, the UN goal number 1 is poverty, right? So think about that. And if there is a problem that is existing in terms of poverty, you can think of that and solve that. So again, targeting a public is based on the problem you choose. There are 17 of them, and you have to just keep serving people. That's all. Just keep serving. Ask them questions, and they'll give you many people will give you a common little answer that you have to just analyze and understand, and then figure out a solution.
So great way to put it. And so this solution challenge, like machine learning, Flutter, technologies, TensorFlow, people are very intimidated by it. So if someone's a newbie, they're afraid to get into it. So what advice will you give them? Like, how can I participate into into solution challenge?
I'll take this one. So anyone with some basic knowledge of programming can definitely participate in solution challenge. Yeah. So most of the things you learn on the way, right? So while you're developing a product. So I wouldn't worry about not knowing a few things beforehand. Like, to be honest, even we started learning while we were developing the product. None of us knew how we are going to deploy the model. No one of us knew like how the Google Cloud works. How do we make API calls, and nothing like that. So one good thing about solution challenges, they provide you with enough resources and cloud credits, so you can just experiment with it and learn a lot from the video that they give you. So I would encourage everyone to participate. Like there are some few opportunities that have the potential to develop your skills like exponentially, and solution challenges was just one of them. So just because you think it's difficult, it might not be right. You should at least go and try to solve one small script. Just take one Python script, just try to run it and see if you understand it. After doing that, I can guarantee you'll try 10 different scripts. So just because there are gatekeepers, like, yeah, there is one common rumor that machine learning is difficult. It involves a lot of mathematics. It involves certain things that you should know beforehand before you try to solve a problem, right? It's not like that. You just need to try a few things and then decide for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also something I would like to add to Parag, is that it's not necessarily that someone will be there to guide you all the time, but then here's the opportunity to join a DSC near you. Like, if your friend doesn't have like a membership or something, actually it's totally free, by the way. Joining a DSC is totally free. You can tell your friends, they can join a DSC that is near them, and all they have to do is join, and we can just guide them through exactly how they have to participate and what things they can do. So joining a DSC is also one of a great thing to do, and that's what actually helped me. I mean, I had no clue that there were DSCs around the world, and thanks to Parag, Akash, and all the team that was before, we would not be taking this session right now if they weren't there. So
that's 100% true.
Also,
So
one thing I'd
yeah.
also one thing I'd like to add. So the thing is, if you decide a goal, if you know where you want to go, you will figure out a way. Of course, you will figure out a way. So how to reach it? It's okay if you don't know any technology. Now, personally, I was not familiar with Flutter and React as well. But then But then since we started working on it, we eventually figure out how to use this technology, how to use Flutter, how to use ML, and how to join these technologies. So even that we had no idea. So eventually you will figure out. Just have a goal and work for it, and you will figure out. Also, one more thing, you learn from your peers as well. Now, I was not familiar with Flutter or React as well, but then after working on few projects with Varun and Akash, I picked on these other skills also. So I remember I used to get up on a call with Akash just to see what he's doing, how he's handling API calls. Okay, so this is how he's doing with on React. Okay, so my solution was so way dumb than this. So okay, so I know how to make API calls, how to handle exceptions and all these things. So so once you go, not only are participating in the competition, not only are enhancing your skills in your own domain, but also any other domain. So now you know your product in and out, and now you know how complete building looks like, and once you know what how to build a product, you can build any product you want. You can just uh, bring your vision to life. That's it.
Okay, that's a really nice point to put. So one of the questions in the chat was, and even I wanted to ask this, like most of you are intern and Rishikesh is working right now. So
Yeah.
how did this solution challenge, this product or this project impacted your professional career, and what was your resume, and to the recruiters, what was it like?
So I would like to take
Everyone.
this.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, when there's a statement in your resume saying you have you have participated for a global hackathon, and when there's an extra keyword like Google in your resume, it really adds weight to your resume. Like most of the recruiters are impressed by just reading that one line, and that can get you get you through most of the interviews as well. And that really helped me and Parag to get the position of research intern at CDAC.
Okay, so does anyone has any more questions to ask to our
uh,
panel? Yeah.
I'd also like to add to this one,
Yes, yes.
since I've been working now.
Yeah.
So I've done quite a share of interviews right now, before this as well. But then when you have this line saying that you have participated in Google solution, and you were ranked 20th in the whole world. When you say this itself has an impact. Not so now, since you have this in your resume, your recruiters or your interviewers have something to talk about. Now, since they have something to talk about, they won't be just asking you any technical questions. So it's okay if you don't know data structures. They would just ask you, okay, so how was your experience? What problems were you facing? How did you solve those problems? Because eventually, what they are trying to do is have a conversation. So if you have something to talk about, they would talk about what you have on your resume, what you have already been through, instead of asking you complicated questions. So if you have such things in resume, it will definitely help you out.
Okay, that's a really nice point. And I want to tell the audience they were not in the top 20. They were also given the honorable mention, I guess, by for their project Check X-ray for their project. So I want claps in the chat right now for them. And that's nice. And does anyone has any more questions or any final remarks to make? Parag, Rishikesh. Uh, One more, there's a question. How much time did all of you spend on your project? Like it's a month of a project. So how much time were you working on it?
This is a difficult question,
Most of
because
the time.
most of the time we were facing
Exactly,
we were working
exactly.
on this one. Also one more thing, so since Parag and I, we were working on a paper, like Parag mentioned, we were working on a paper which was classifying 14 different types of diseases based on chest X-ray. So we already had experience on this one. So that is why we were able to pivot from 14 different pneumonia related diseases to COVID diseases. And we already had a trained model which was able to classify, okay, so basic, this is how chest X-ray works. So we were saving on time on training as well. Also, we had some kind of expertise. So this may vary according to your data,
Yeah.
according to your solution, what you're trying to build. Also, one more thing I would like to add, machine learning is not that important. If you have a problem and it can be solved with other technology, you don't have to do with the same. I've seen many people, I've been through this problem, that if I see a problem, I would try to solve it with machine learning. that should not be the case. If it can be solved with basic programming, you should go for that. Try to be as simple, and and yeah, that's it. Just because you know machine learning, it doesn't mean you should solve it with machine learning.
Yeah. Also, there is this notion that people have is like, oh, Google's technology Flutter, it's so easy to do, and like you can build an app in a day and all that. You can build an app in a day. That's not like a false statement. It is definitely true, except that perfecting the app without any bugs and glitches, that's the time and effort that Akash and I put in. It takes about, say, I mean, we had a deadline till March. I mean, right now you have a deadline till March 31st, right? So we had that similar kind of deadline, and we had to just small little things that were glitching out, and we had to just solve them one at a time. Just take your time, and the thing you have to remember is do not just give up halfway. If your solution is happening, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Just do not stop. Okay, and although the technologies are there to help you, your basic technical knowledge also counts. Okay, your past experiences in programming and whatever labs you've taken, you can take these code labs right now, codelabs.google.com, and you can have the Flutter code labs, machine learning ones are there as well, Kotlin, Android, and everything is there. So basically, it's just that if your base knowledge is strong, and if you spend time perfecting an app instead of just making one quickly, then your solution will be having such a more little vantage point or a weight to it. Is that the developers or the judges know that you have spent quality time on the app and not just use Flutter to its like advantage where you can build it in full speed. So you can take your time and understand the technology as well.
Okay. So there's a similar question, like you said, there's a similar question. How do you stay, as you said, you don't have to stop in the between. So how you guys stayed motivated to learn to the new technology? That's a question by Mihir. What is the motivation like?
Motivation, I mean, just stay hungry, just be hungry for knowledge and try to do things. Since it was the end goal was to develop a product, we were always hungry to do something. We were always hungry to learn this so that I can build machine learning model, learn this so that I can build a web app application, the back end, then build an application at the front end. So just so we can communicate front end to the back end, and then back end to the machine learning model. So we had no idea how this one works, and it's okay not to do everything fancy. For backend, we were using Flask. So Flask is not that fancy. Yeah. So it's simple. It's only simple APIs, and it's okay. It's after all, it's just a prototype, or just a way to represent your idea. It's okay if it's not the fastest. It's okay if it's not the most efficient. But as long as it is getting your idea up to the user base, that's enough. And for motivation, I mean, I don't know. It's just yourself. You just motivate yourself, or you motivate your peers. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to add to that. Like, a motivation for me would be simple. Like, don't solve problems just because Google wants you to solve them. The solution challenge is not exactly that at all. It's about like you have the urge to solve a problem and you want to keep solving it until it is done. So that's what keeps me motivated. So you have to have that urge to solve it. I want to solve this. This is a legitimate problem and I need to solve it. So that's how you just keep yourself motivated throughout the entire project. Don't think that Google is giving you problems to solve, or the United Nations is giving you. Think about it that I want to solve this legitimate problem. This is a real thing, like that.
Okay, so one more question we have from Karan is that like every project is like a baby to their developers. So is there any other projects like which you liked for the solution challenge, and you describe one of the projects which you really liked and were really inspired by that project in the solution challenge?
I'll take this. Yeah. So there was one project similar to us, like they used to scan the one thing that they did differently was create a hardware for scanning the X-ray images. So it was a great project. If you could go on the website and look for 5 minutes. So they have this a scanner which they put on your chest, and it just scans the cross-sectional area of your lungs. So as you move down, it gives you a nice CT scan like images. And basically they did machine learning. They had 1000 patients to experiment on basically. So but the thing they had in they did well was just create solution there and there itself, like
Yeah,
the most
it was
efficient one.
real. It was real time
Yeah,
classification.
real time.
Real time.
Correct.
That's great. So, would you like to change anything in your project right now? Like for many people, participating in hackathon is like a first thing. It's intimidating. So, what would you like to suggest it to them?
Uh, so actually our project was pretty much perfect and there's nothing much to change. But if I would to build that project again, I think Varun would agree on this. We would go with Node.js for the server because we could build a more complex application with
Endpoints.
Node.js and Flutter. Yeah, like we could build multiple APIs easily using Node.js, and I think that would be the only change which I can think of.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you could make the model local instead of putting it at a server somewhere to classify, that would have been even faster classifications. You know. So
Yeah.
of course there are technologies for that. TensorFlow Lite is for getting all your models onto your phones and just classifying them at the same instant you say I want to classify. So that's one thing.
Also, for in the early stages of machine learning development, there is this amazing library called fast.ai. So if you are familiar with Jeremy Howard's, you know what I'm talking about. The library is based on PyTorch. It's not based on TensorFlow. But then if you want to do rapid prototyping, that's the base library I've ever seen. In just 10 line of code, you can build a small model and you can already train it. It also gives you a basic idea of, okay, so this is the data. Okay, so this is how I should train it. This is how I should this is what the hyperparameter should be. Once you go through the rapid prototyping, you know how you could build the model in TensorFlow. The best advantage about TensorFlow is it's production ready. You can just export the PB file and just have it and deploy it on the cloud, and it would be ready to serve REST API for you. So that is why we use TensorFlow. But then for rapid prototyping, you can use flash.ai. It is based on PyTorch, but then for rapid prototyping, it's really amazing. I wish we could have done that before.
Okay. So, I guess, do you have any final comments for the project? Like, anything to say to our participants who will be participating in the solution challenge right now?
Don't procrastinate.
Work on it
Exactly.
daily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Have regular meetings.
I've been through this. The Parag and Akash would know this. Usually you have this huge amount of data, like 46 GB, 110 GB, and you just don't want to process it. The data is so ugly that you don't want to process it. But then you have to fire up the Jupyter notebook, import the data, and learn from it.
Exactly.
So yeah, don't procrastinate.
Okay. So I guess that's it then. Thank you everyone for joining in today, and thank you for a panel, Parag, Rishikesh, Akash, and Varun, for inspiring the students to take up the solution challenge. And I hope we get into top 10 this time. And yeah, that's it, I guess. Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
hope everyone
Thank
participates
you.
this year.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah. Majority from MESCO.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, we'll be sharing all the necessary links and all. You can go through the code labs. You can register your team. Just make sure that he's part of the DSC and everything will be to go. We'll be back on track, and hope so we get the top 10 this year.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining, Akash, Varun,
and one
Rishikesh.
more thing. Can we have a photo? So everyone, all the participants, if you want to, you can please switch on your cameras right now.
Just tell us when you're going to click.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Together mode isn't available. Just anyone? Dhruvil, Laukik, if you can switch on your cameras. Sakshi, okay. And anyone participants if you want to. Prem, we have. Okay. So he's taking a screenshot. Sakshi, will you take a screenshot?
Just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Smile.
Mine.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be putting all the details about the solution challenge and the PPTs in the chats as well, WhatsApp chat and on Discord soon. And this session will be live on YouTube within like by the afternoon, I guess. And yeah, make sure that all of you participate in the solution challenge. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for having
Thanks.
us.
Wait.
Tanya, come on Discord. Sakshi, Tanya, Varun. Let's go on Discord.